it's a bit like prison. It's an
How so?
institution. You're
Okay.
institutionalized. You're removed from what society does normally. Financially, it's completely different. You know, that was my biggest struggle leaving. Financially, things were a lot more expensive on the other side of that fence, and going away for long periods of time where you're separated from your family. I did 6 months at a time, so I was already kind of primed for prison in the way that it didn't feel like going onto a military base didn't feel any different than going into a prison.
Wow. Hello and welcome back to Life After Prison with Zach and Jules. Today's guest is Naomi. Her journey is one of resilience, service and transformation. From becoming a mum at just 16 to serving 6 years in the military with tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. Naomi's life then took a turn that ultimately led to a prison sentence. Today, we're talking about life before prison, the realities of serving time whilst being a mother, and how these experiences have led her to create Omi Nai Wellness, a space where she now helps others heal through nervous system regulation, bodywork, and holistic well-being. Welcome to the studio, Naomi. How are you? Good, fine, thank you. Appreciate you taking time to be with us today.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Your story has a lot to it. Can we start from the beginning and what life was like growing up for you?
So I would say that life for me growing up was uncertain, chaotic and traumatic. That was my childhood. I was born to two parents with addiction, grew up in Brixton in the 80s. There was no stability, no care. And then how far do you want me to go? I'm like, how far do you want me to go?
I mean, we want to talk about it all, but just before you do go on, did you feel that as a young child? Did you feel that like chaos?
Yeah. I have vivid memories of people being stabbed in our house. My parents, arguing. I remember our fish tank, and the fish ended up in the police station because the fish tank got smashed and I was put my wellies on. And so I've got a really good long-term memory. Don't ask me your name, but I will remember what happened when I was 4 years old. I've got a really vivid memory, and it was consistent up until my early teens.
Wow.
Oh, so from 4 till early teens, it was just like that, chaos and tough.
Yes. We moved from Brixton to Cumbria because my mum's addiction got quite bad. And that's where my mum's family lived, like my aunt and my grandma. So we moved there, and all it did was put a massive magnifying glass on how disjointed our family was and how my mum's addiction was, how bad it was. Never went to school. Sometimes, but I'd run away all the time. And so, I went to naughty girls' school. I was excluded from pretty much every school I went to. I was always fighting. I was that kid. And also the only we were like, I think there was one of the brown family, black family in the whole town. So the racism was,
What does all of those experiences kind of do for someone growing up? How does that affect you?
Well, it created a nervous system that operated in chaos. And so chaos is what I looked for. If things were stable, I found it boring. And so obviously what happens as a child, your nervous system is created actually in your mother's womb. And so my mum was drinking whilst I was pregnant. So my nervous system, probably before I was even born, was not one that was regulated.
So at 16, you became a mum. I mean, most 16-year-olds are probably still trying to figure out who they are, who their friends are.
Yeah.
GCSEs, college.
Where's your head at that time?
Yeah, so I was actually in the military when I found out I was pregnant. So leading up to leaving school, I never left school with any GCSEs. I was never there. So I think I got my GCSEs, from what I can remember, spelled fudge without the U. That's how I remember it. So I didn't quite get a U, but it spelled fudge without the U because I only did a few. I did the ones that they could literally drag me to do.
Was there any parts of like education or maybe future you, did you ever think about that and have an enjoyment?
No.
You didn't know at all?
I'm not designed for the school system. Even now, I wouldn't go and do a university degree.
Yeah.
Like, I can study things that feel good here, but I'm not going to sit down and have somebody talk at me for hours and hours a day. It's just boring. And yeah, even when I was at school, it was, no, I didn't. And also, I think when you live in fight or flight state, you're not thinking about your future. You're not thinking about like 10 years down the line. Well, okay, so some people do, because my brothers obviously grew up in the same situation and they've all got really good careers, went to university. One's a scientist, the other like has his own companies, the other's a yoga teacher and has 3 businesses. So it's not that they didn't, but I was that kid that was always like, nothing makes sense. And so I think that's what my purpose in the family was, to call out all the things that we would just push under the carpet.
Where are you in the hierarchy?
I'm a middle child, obviously. Obviously, I'm a middle child.
They got the middle childs. We're here.
We're all here.
We're
all out here.
That's right.
Youngest, sorry guys. I can't relate.
Oh, you're the baby.
she's
She's
the
just
baby,
the
yeah.
baby.
I am the
Just the
baby.
baby.
And I feel it, guys. So I know you must feel something, okay?
Yeah.
Because I definitely feel the baby and the youngest.
And I was the only girl as well.
That must have been tough.
Yeah, and I was the bad one. The one that would, tell my mum, call her out of a name. I was hard work, but at the same time, now when I look at children that are hard work, I'm like, there's a reason. Nobody just wakes up. No child wakes up hard work. And so I'll circle back to your actual question. What made me want? I was always, when I went to therapy, because I had therapy for like 3 years, and my need for love, I had translated that into, if I just have a child, then I can prove that I'm lovable. That was what we had unpacked in my therapy.
Wow.
And so when I had my daughter, Aisha, and actually from the age of 3, I had said that I was going to have a little girl called Aisha.
Wow.
Age of 3. I was like, Mum, did you not think, and I was going to be a single mom. I was like, did you not think to change that mantra? Like, you know.
Kind of spoke it into existence.
Well, you speak everything into existence. We're the best storytellers of earth, right? So if you can speak something great, if you can manifest, then as a 3-year-old, I was speaking that into my existence. And my first child was a little girl and she's called Aisha.
That's crazy.
So how did you find the military first going in?
It was hard. They would throw our beds out the window, like make us get in the bins to push the rubbish down. It was a shell shock for me because I had no discipline, no rules. I didn't listen to anybody. So going into the military at 16, I was like, what the hell am I actually doing here? But the fitness side, I was always naturally fit. So I didn't find it difficult to get into the military, and I didn't find it difficult, that side of things. But then I started feeling nauseous all the time and about to throw up on, but I was on the depot injection. So I didn't think that I would be pregnant. And then, I went and had a pregnancy test. They were like, you're pregnant. I was like, oh. And then I called my mum and I was like, I think I'm kind of pregnant. She was like, I don't think you can kind of do anything, Naomi. And actually that part as well was quite, so my mum refused to sign me out of them. So when you're under 18, it's like signing care over. So I'm property. They sign me in, and then for me to get out, I have to be signed back out if I'm under 18. My mum refused because she didn't want me to have a child. Then they had me in this, I don't know what ranking officer he was at the time, it was so long ago, I can't remember, in his flat, him basically giving me an ultimatum: you can stay in the military or you have to have an abortion. You can stay in the military if you have an abortion.
Whoa.
Literally, and I was 16, and I remember it vivid, and it was only when I rejoined the military that I found out it was a complete lie. I could have stayed in and I would have been able to just complete my training after I'd had my baby. So obviously I wasn't, you telling me what to do again. So I think there was a part of me that was like, you're not going to tell me what to do. It's my body.
That's crazy though.
Yeah. And nobody else was there with me. That it was just me and this man telling me that I needed to have an abortion or leave the military, basically.
So what did you do?
Well, she's 22 now.
But what does that mean? So you had to leave?
So my friend's mum signed me out of the military, and then I lived in a hostel.
Oh wow! At 16, so and your mum didn't want.
No, she didn't want me to make
involved?
the same mistakes as her.
Okay.
So I think because I was so bad at school, I think it was like a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, yes, she messed up a lot, and she's very apologetic, and holds that, and that's her story to have to hold. But I think when I joined the military, it was like, phew, Naomi's not in prison. Naomi's not like. Obviously, we didn't know the future. But, I think she felt a bit of relief. And so for me to be like, I'm pregnant and I'm going to leave, she'd be like, well, what are you going to do?
What branch of the armed forces?
So that was just basic training. So that was they have a foundation college. So if you're under 18, you'll go to a foundation college, not straight into the military, because you can't actually be deployed till you're 18.
Okay.
So you do kind of like a longer basic training until you can then be deployed.
So having your daughter, what did becoming a mum do for you? How did that change you?
Gave me my reason why. Like, she is literally my why of doing most things that I've done in life. She's my why. Obviously, I chose her. It wasn't an accident, in the sense that obviously from the age of 3, I was already calling her into existence. And then at 16, I chose to have her because every single person around me, including her father, didn't want me to have her. Wow. So I chose her, and she was the best choice I could have ever made. Kids
are definitely a blessing.
100%. Sure. I probably would have been to prison sooner if it wasn't for her, because I was so bad. So it's really nice.
So then did you join back the military?
Yeah, so I left, and the reality of what am I going to do kind of set me and my mum's relationship started to repair after I had Aisha, well, when I was towards the end of my pregnancy. And yeah, I was like, I didn't want my daughter to think that growing up on benefits, not that there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but I never wanted my daughter to believe that that was all that was available to her just because she was born to a mom that's single, which was my experience of my life, that you can't strive for anything past what's right in front of you. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, the only way out, I didn't have any GCSEs, so how else am I going to get out of this town? I lived way up north, and I was born in Brixton, so there was always this pull. I was so wild in the way of, like, I wanted freedom, I wanted to be everywhere but there, that was my only way out. Well, what I perceived as my only way out.
So then for people who have never experienced, being in the army or any of the armed forces, what is military life actually like? It's a bit like prison.
It's an institution. You're institutionalized. You're removed from what society does normally. Financially, it's completely different. That was my biggest struggle leaving. Financially, things were a lot more expensive on the other side of that fence. And going away for long periods of time where you're separated from your family, I did 6 months at a time. So I was already kind of primed for prison in the way that it didn't feel like going onto a military base didn't feel any different than going into a prison.
Wow.
For me.
But anyway. That's obviously with having both experiences, right?
Yeah.
You can then see.
Yeah. My hardest thing for both of them was leaving Aisha. But if I didn't have Aisha, I wouldn't have found prison. Like, I've already been away for long periods of time, so not being able to walk out of my room and go to the shop was normal, because obviously when you're on a camp in the middle of Iraq or wherever you are, you're not just walking down to M&S or Waitrose.
So looking back on your time in the forces, what do you think the military gave you? Let's start there. What do you think it gave you?
Discipline.
Okay.
I'd had none before. Okay, so it's kind of like this. They teach you how to take orders. They don't teach you how to have self-discipline. So when I left the military, I still had no self-discipline, because I was told when to do everything. Okay. And so I'm great at taking orders. I'm great at things being, okay, I know I have to be here at this time and be there at that time. But so I think discipline comes in layers, doesn't it?
Definitely.
But it was definitely, I got good at taking orders. What else? I think the friendships that you create in the military for me was probably the best. A lot of my friends still are now from when I was 18 in the military. So friendships. But in terms of work, I'm a Buddhist now, so I don't really agree with the military and its ethos and what it's about. But yeah, it was a time.
Then my next part of that question is, if anything, and I think you kind of explained it maybe, what did the military take away from you then?
Freedom of thinking.
Okay.
I was wild as a child when I was growing up, but my ability to think for outside of like a little tiny box was so vast, and that's why I was like everywhere and wanted to be everywhere. But what the military does is just, well, that's what basic training is for. They break you down in order to mold you into the perfect yes man, and they have lots of them, evidently.
Okay, so then Naomi, whilst you were in the army, how long were you in the army for?
So I was in the military for 6 years.
Sorry, military.
It's the same thing. I just say military, same thing, army.
Cool.
6 years.
6 years, okay.
Yeah.
And at the end of the 6 years, you decided to leave, right?
Yeah, so they brought in something called accelerated discharge, which meant I waived my right for resettlement and I was out within 4 weeks.
Wow. Oh, because normally when you leave, they rehouse you, right?
Well, no, you have a year.
Okay.
They don't necessarily rehouse you, but you have a year of resettlement, training, anything, any support you need, they will provide that.
So why did you waive that resettlement right?
That was part of getting out in 4 weeks. So the accelerated discharge, the agreement is you waive your right for resettlement. And I was a risk taker, as they said in my prison report, the pre-sentencing report. And so I was like, yes, a get out of jail free card. And so I took it. In hindsight, it was probably the stupidest decision I could have made.
Why'd you say that?
Well, I've been in an institute for 6 years and didn't know how to pay my own way in a way that, like, I went from my rent for my house was like something like 120, 130 pounds to 1,400, you know, and now I don't have a job either.
So why did you want to get out
My daughter.
army so quick? Okay. So they allowed you at that age, what, you must be early 20s?
Yeah, because I was 18 when I joined, so, and then 6 years after that, so.
So,
24,
yeah, mid-20s. So your mid-20s just got out the army with no job and they didn't support you because you waived. I don't feel like they should allow you to waiver a right.
No, I think that, so the army was oversubscribed at the time from what I gather. Oversubscribed. And they were trying to cut funding. I don't know if this is fact because it was so long ago. I can't remember the exact reasons why. But at the time, they were cutting back numbers and they were like, okay. And bringing in this accelerated discharge.
So did you have any support from family, friends outside?
My mum's always there. You know, it's not like I don't have, my auntie's always there. I do have support, but I moved to London, so no.
Fair.
Because I left, I was posted in Wellington Barracks, which is near Buckingham Palace. And I didn't want to move back up north. So I moved to East London.
God, that must have been so tough.
Yeah, it was. And now I was a full-time mum with no job and I'd never done that. I'd literally never done it. So it was, yeah, it was weird.
It's quite
I was like, what do people do with their time? Well, they've got no job. Like, what do I do? Like, I don't have to be anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. How tough was it?
Tough enough to commit a crime, evidently.
Yeah.
Because it was only a year later.
Really? What kind of led to that?
So a friend, I had actually moved out of the house in East London and ended up back at my mum's because me and my son's dad had broken up. And my son didn't exist at this time, but we were together at that time. And my money had run out. Obviously, I've got no job and any little savings that I did have was now non-existent. And so I was back at my mum's after not living with my mum since I was 18, having a job, having a car, having my own house, having my independence and having a sense of pride as well, to now on benefits, living in my mum's spare bedroom with my 8-year-old daughter, I think she was like 6 at the time. And so a friend But I knew from London, called me and was like,
Want to make some bread?
yeah. So I was like, yes.
It's funny how things like that happen in them kind of moments, isn't it?
Yeah, well, she knew me before. I met
Okay.
her before I left the military, so she already knew my journey. Like,
Okay.
I had because I used to go out in West End quite a lot, and so I had friends from all different walks of life. I didn't just hang around with people in the military. Actually, I didn't hang around with people. Maybe 2 people that I actually hung around with in the military, and then. Yeah, I did have a job at the time. I was working in a spa in Manchester, and then that's when I got the call. Do you want to come and do a drive? Sure.
Okay.
Why not?
And eventually, what did you end up going to prison for?
Importation of drugs.
Okay. And sentence-wise?
I got 9 years, but they took off 3 years for my early guilt, 3 years for my military career and 2 years for my early guilty plea.
Okay, so at the end...
4 years, so I got simple career, which is obviously you've got categories that they can move you up and down. And what's the irony is my brother was studying law at the time. And so he was like, you do realise that they can, just because you think you're there, they can put you in any category that they feel fit. And so that's what they did.
But you managed to be in the lower category, right?
Well, because they knew they would have to give me time. Well, they wouldn't have to, but my military career, I've served for the Queen and country, and I've pled guilty. So you do get time off for those things.
So does everyone in the army get time off? Like,
I would say that if they've served a substantial amount of time, I would say that they would take it into consideration.
okay.
And I think definitely
didn't know that.
if Iraq and Afghanistan are mentioned, because that's quite prominent in its recent history, that makes
At the time,
a
yeah.
huge difference, yeah, of course.
It hadn't been long since my last tour either. At the time. By the time I got sentenced was 2013. I went to Iraq in 2009. Afghanistan, sorry. My last tour was 2009. Left the military, did the crime, went to prison.
Yeah,
it was only in a 3-year time.
Was any of that taken into consideration? Like the fact that the gap between leaving and leaving the military
Well, the stats-
And not having any support?
Yeah.
Any
Well,
of this?
I don't even know if I mentioned it, to be fair, because I was just like, well, I committed the crime. Well,
But did you get proper legal help?
yeah, I had a solicitor and stuff. But we waited till I had my full disclosure, and then I pled guilty, but I did it. So
Yeah, but like, sorry, just going back to when they waived support for you at that age,
100%.
that should be a massive factor of it, because there's a very clear progression.
Direct correlation.
Yeah,
innit?
direct.
Yeah.
Direct
100%.
correlation. Yeah, good word.
But there's
Word of the
I'm
day.
a bit like, whoa, yeah.
Correlation.
I just said it.
I love a word of the day. But the stats is quite high for ex-military either ending up on the streets or in prison.
But the exact reason why
Well, no, because even if they've done the year resettlement, it can
still happen,
quite
yeah.
high, because you're institutionalized. You're not used to having all this free time to use your own mind. I'm being told, it's like with a child, if you don't allow them the freedom to start to even make their own drinks, they just become so codependent and dependent on you to tell them what to do and that's what the military does, creates all these people that are dependent on them.
But speaking of institutionalism and being institutionalized, we've touched on it briefly, but I want to hear from you what the similarities are between being in the military and in prison, and like in your perspective.
So just for awareness, Sodexo, who give us food, also give the military and also own the military bases. So Sodexo in Aldershot, it was Sodexo in Ashford, where both places, same food, well, obviously not the same food because military have their own chefs, but I think it's even some of the military camps have been privatised as well as the prison system and Sodexo. So, I mean, it just that seed in itself tells you quite a lot. But I've been told what to do, when to do. It's the same thing. Your doors are closed. Well, obviously, in the military, you're sharing with loads of people all the time. So I've actually never lived on my own. I was thinking about it the other day. Well, quite the last year. My son's 13. My daughter's left home, and when my son goes to his dad's now, that is the first time in my whole entire life I've ever actually been alone. Like my whole life, I've never been alone. Like You know, like people just in their 20s, they're just, what do I do for the day? I'm like, what have people been doing? I'm like, all this time to think, feel, and like experience life. It's a whole new world.
And what are the main kind of differences for you whilst you were inside compared to
being outside? What was, you mean the transition when I...
Yeah, going into prison.
Well, it hadn't been that long from leaving the military to prison. So I went from that to then being a full-time mum. So I was still on somebody else's timeline, really. Still had to be places at the same time, feed somebody at the same time. And so it didn't feel like I was out long enough before I was in, so I didn't experience what life would be like outside of an institution.
It's like you're always on go.
Always.
Do you feel like you were still in, I know you mentioned it earlier, but do you feel like do you feel
it's
like
only
you're
the
still
last 3 years that I've had a regulated nervous system.
Wow.
4 years, yeah. Before that, like, until you've experienced a regulated nervous system, people believe that they're like, oh yeah, I'm calm. Okay, how much capacity do you have for the small things to not bother you? Because it's when my son pointed it out, he was like, Mum, you're so calm. You never get mad. I never really get mad. And I'm like, because I've created that much capacity for life and for things to happen around me that it doesn't throw me off my center. And even if it does, it doesn't take me long to get back here. And I'd not experienced that. And a lot of people haven't experienced that stillness.
How did you react emotionally to going into prison?
It was hard. Obviously, I was pregnant. I vividly remember promising my daughter that I would never leave her again. And so for me...
Once you were back from the military?
Yeah.
Okay.
And a promise is a promise. And I broke my promise. And I never break promises with my daughter when she was that age. And so that was my guilt and shame. And even still now I'm working through that with her because it doesn't just vanish. That was... I can't remember what the question was.
So that was...
I'm like, what was the question?
The hardest part of prison for you, leaving your daughter?
Yeah, 100%.
And then...
and the toilets. Why are the toilets just there? Literally, I was traumatized. I was like, what the hell? When they shut that down. And I was like, so anyone can just watch me go to the toilet at any point in the day.
Which is
just have a little
really
pee.
Intrusive, isn't it?
Like just a little pee.
You think we talk about when we're asleep and they're shining.
They can just look.
They're shining the torch
God.
when you're sleeping. Okay, cool. Why don't we ever talk about when we're
on the toilet? I always knew because you can hear the keys.
Yeah, but
so I'd be like, quick.
I haven't actually spoken about that since. And I remember now actually in my brain, I'm like,
yeah,
because it could just be a man or like, and they just look.
Yeah.
You know what? It's bad to say. I was just like, I don't care.
Well, because you're a man.
Yeah, but sometimes you're doing a number two, innit? And
yeah, but you're a man, which is bad. But women have been programmed that much that we've got to hide parts of ourselves. It's shame to go to the toilet. It's shame to do this. It's shame to do that.
I didn't even know women go to the toilet.
Exactly. Exactly. So, like, you don't do that.
Well done, Zach. Good line.
So, exactly. So that's what's been programmed into us from a young age. So then we go to prison and all of our privacy is completely stripped away. I was lucky I had my own room.
Fair.
I was going to say that was only for a small period of time for me.
Yeah.
Sharing, number one, and having the toilet in my cell. But I remember this happening.
For sharing, I always have a rule. If you're going to do a number two, when the door's open.
Do you know?
When the door shuts, no one's doing a number two.
Fine.
But what if you get somebody that's like, nah, I'm going anyway? And what if you've got a bad belly?
I'm not smelling your number two. You're not going to smell mine.
It's an invasion. It's an invasion of privacy. And that was my first.
Massive.
And actually one of the officers came in, because it was in every national newspaper, my story. And one of the officers, when he took me to the cell, I was just like, what the, literally, I was like, the toilet's literally there. The thing that they can look through, it stank. I was like, have you got any bleach that I can clean? He was like, it's 7 p.m. at night. I was like, I don't care. I need to clean. because obviously when you're pregnant as well, everything's even worse.
Heightened,
But
yeah.
I will say when I went in, they like found me a new mattress
Okay.
because I was pregnant.
So when did you find out you were pregnant?
Before
You went in?
Yeah.
Was
Okay.
it before the offence?
No.
Okay.
No. So I was on bail for a year.
Okay.
It's the longest year of my life. I never had panic attacks before. I had panic attacks. It was
tough.
There was like two sides of it. I wish I'd been just kept, but then I wouldn't have had my son. And he is literally like, so special.
Another blessing.
Tell us about your journey of being in prison and pregnant. How did that journey pan out for you?
It probably made my prison centre. That's probably why I didn't find it like, I had a human to look after, didn't I? All of my being just got poured into this small human that I've created. Obviously, it was difficult that my daughter wasn't getting that relationship with her brother. But being pregnant, I was on a normal wing at first, and then I went to the mother and baby unit. So I was on the mother and baby unit with other mothers.
Wait, what's that?
So there's two parts to this. So I was pregnant. I got moved to Manchester.
Cool.
My son's dad lived only 15, 20 minutes from the prison in London. And so after I gave birth to Ethan, I moved up north so I was closer to my daughter because my daughter was in the Lake District with my auntie. And so when I had Ethan, I thought, okay, I have that bond with my daughter. He needs that with his dad. So I moved back to the Cat A prison. So I already was getting rottle and stuff from...
Okay.
So when I moved back, I was the only person to have rottle from this Cat A prison. So I would go out on rottle every weekend from this Cat A prison.
So you have your son with you, growing up with you inside prison?
Yeah, he never left me.
And then till what age?
18 months. So the cut-off's 18 months, and he was 18 months the month I got out.
Wow.
Amazing. So you got that together.
Yeah. He's never left me.
Does he know about?
Of course, I don't lie to my children.
Wow.
Transparency goes throughout.
What does he say about it?
Yeah.
No, like he spent more time in prison than some men, hasn't he?
I've just got goosebumps because,
But
you know, like, 'cause I work with a lot of young people and like, oh, what's the interesting fact about you? He goes, wow, I was born in prison. What?
well, he was actually born in a hospital. We went to hospital to have him. We didn't.
So sorry. See,
No,
this is my assumption. Thinking,
As a man, this is your assumption.
Okay,
we have to go to hospital.
So you get taken out with an officer.
No, I didn't because I was getting rottled. So I got to. They dropped me, left me there with my son's dad. Me and him had, obviously I gave birth and then I had an extra day and then I came back.
Okay.
Wow.
So obviously if you don't have rottle, because some people don't get rottle. And so some people have to have the officers there, but I didn't have to have the officers
But
there.
does everybody leave the prison to have the baby?
Yeah. There's no.
Do you know what? I've spoken to so
birthing.
many women that have had their baby. Like even I had a friend in prison who had her baby on the mother and baby unit, and I never asked about that part.
Yeah.
They leave. They obviously leave.
that
Well,
makes sense.
maybe other prisons are different, but
Yeah.
if I had had him at Ashford, I would have left to go and have the baby. Because they don't, imagine if something happens.
Yeah.
Like you've got to have the medical team,
There's
all
me
of these
thinking
things.
it's like a hospital
Inside
unit.
the prison.
Yeah, that's
Hospital
what I was
unit
thinking.
next to the mother and baby unit inside
I'm
the
all
prison.
building movies and yeah. Okay.
So what support did you get whilst being a mum?
It's brilliant.
Really? In prison? Okay.
Yeah, the nursery staff. My son had it's like 3 members of staff to every child. You ain't getting that in the nursery in anywhere.
Oh wow.
Okay, that's something they got right then.
They go out every week, every day. The baby's not in prison, so you're allowed anything you want for your child. You're allowed. Obviously, if it's
within
could be
reason,
like I want
Yeah.
a chocolate mousse, and he's like not even eating yet. But you know, whatever your child needs, you can get, and there's members of the nursery staff would go out and get it.
Amazing. Yeah,
I'm not
because
glorifying
it's not the child's
it, but
fault.
at the same time, it's not.
The child
Your,
should
door,
not suffer
your
or
door's
be
never
punished.
locked either.
But also,
That's
I had
good.
they've got it right with the kids. They need to get it right with the adults.
Well, here's the thing is that the most important thing in the first 18 months of a baby's life, of a child life, is the bond between parents, right? So every weekend, or every second weekend, Ethan would go to his dad's.
Yeah.
He would go to his grandma's. He would go. So those relationships, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And if obviously the maternal part for a child is so important,
Yeah.
that bond is
With
needed.
you, yeah.
You know, because babies actually believe or think they're part of you.
They don't
Right,
know,
they don't
yeah,
know they're
separate from you,
yeah.
and they don't start to see the outside world till 18 months. That's why it's 18 months. They don't,
Okay.
yeah. So for them,
it goes in
it's
line with development.
Exactly, mom is here, and that's why my son's got such a secure attachment style, like really secure. Because
I'm so glad they do that with
Yeah.
the babies, and for you as well. They're not treating you as like a. But that's like where the humanity bit comes in, right? So they've got humanity for the mum, for the baby.
Yeah.
Where I feel like it's lacking is humanity for people just being in prison.
100%.
So if you didn't have a baby,
You
you
to
would have
have
been
lots of
treated so much differently.
So I will say my military career did give me
Okay.
preference.
I didn't even think about this.
the military in prison.
Okay.
What-
So I
what
was
did-
on enhanced within.
You know what makes sense? No, you know what makes sense? A lot of ex-military are officers, right?
Did you know that was going to happen?
No, well, I didn't plan. Ooh.
No.
When I go to prison, they're going to be nice to me. No, I didn't.
Well,
care.
did you know that was even a thing?
No, it was just
'Cause
the
I
way.
actually
It
didn't,
was
I
just
forgot.
the way. It's not like it's a written rule, but it was just the way that they spoke to me, the way that they communicated with me, the way
Fine.
that I was on enhanced quite quickly. But also, I'm not causing any trouble. Like I'm.
No, fair.
Yeah.
There's that side to it as well.
I was like, I can't be
No,
bothered.
but if you weren't having a baby and you weren't in the
I
military,
still wouldn't have caused any trouble.
no, you wouldn't have caused any trouble, but you probably would have been treated differently.
If I weren't in the middle, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is where I'm
because
saying
they just
about,
see me as a
Military
criminal.
privilege.
but this is what I'm saying about humanity. Like they lose it as soon as you haven't got any form of, let's say, credibility that they find credible.
Yeah, then you get the
Under
blanket.
there.
then that's it,
Fair.
which I find crazy because
Fair.
we're
But
getting so much right,
That's
and then
a
we're
human thing.
But
though,
I was about to say
Yeah.
that's exactly the same outside. Humans naturally judge.
Yeah.
What is the first thing people ask? So what do you do?
Yeah, what do you do? I know.
Why? Because I'm going to automatically put you where I'm going to put you in my level of interest in you. It's just human nature.
Yeah.
And I used to hate when people were like, what do you do? I'd be like, I don't care what you do. I'd be like, I'm a stripper. I'd literally say
Kill
that
it.
in taxis and stuff. They'd be like, so what do you girls do? Girls, one. What do you do? I'd be like, I'm a stripper. And it dead the conversation right there. They're
done.
like,
What's next?
hey, yeah.
That's actually
Isn't it?
Forget that I'm a stripper.
That's actually correct.
But you are right about judgment, and it brings me back to something that you said that really stood out to us when you were talking about your journey of being a mum and what people used to say about that, and how they used to judge you for leaving your daughter
Oh, yes.
when you're in prison. But when you're in the army, they didn't
Praised
judge
it.
you.
No.
So
No
can you
judgment.
tell us about that?
Yeah.
And how did they react to you leaving her in the army and in
Well,
prison?
there was no reaction. It was like, oh, Naomi's great. She's like, even they wrote stories about me in the local newspapers and stuff, like how I'm a hero and how I was on. Me and my daughter were on GMTV.
Really?
Yeah, she hates it. So yeah, because she cried. But even that was traumatic for her. Like, why are you putting my child on?
In two separate, like you're.
I'm in Iraq
Oh, wow.
and she's here.
Why
You
did they
can't-
do that?
Because, well, they had said, do you want to speak to your daughter, like on video? Obviously, I haven't seen her. So, but also, I was young, so I wasn't thinking the traumatic impact that would have on my daughter, having to see your mum. You can see her, but you can't touch her. You can't be
yeah,
with her.
yeah,
And it's coming up to Christmas. And so she was crying.
Makes for good TV, but not for.
Not for
effects,
her.
yeah.
But
She
what
even
were they
talks about it
trying-
now. She's even like now she
Still
says
affected.
it's. Well, she just says it's. That was a bit,
But what were they trying to do?
make great TV.
Just paint a good story.
just-
It's a great story.
Okay, fine.
You know what I'm saying?
Keeping links at Christmas with family members.
Fine.
And military people out at war.
Trying to get ratings, TV ratings, and all that. Fair.
So yeah, you were getting called a hero.
Yeah, well, that's what was one of the headlines: hero to heroine.
Oh wow.
I'm not gonna lie, the media's this. Like we're part of it, but obviously we're trying to do good.
It's different.
We're trying to good.
We're different.
We're trying to do good media, but
We're not
the
the
media at times is very ugly and disgusting.
I mean, it was a great cat. Like for wordplay,
It's a wordplay,
wonderful.
yeah, but-
hero
wow,
to heroine.
It's a shame that it's got, you can because
I had
they're
people
very
writing to me.
But
when I
that's
first-
such intense feelings.
Some
both
guys
of them.
as well. Like, I know you're pregnant. I know you got a kid, but how is there even a but after that?
But they're like on such different ends of the spectrum, so much intensity.
Yeah.
You know, you're a hero and then you're
Villainized.
villain.
Yeah, 100%. And for years and years and years. That's why I changed my name.
Fair.
Because my daughter
quick one, just on the
Always
letters.
never done.
Were they from people inside or outside?
Outside of prison.
Really?
Yeah, and inside, and obviously saw me on. Well, because obviously my wing wouldn't have got the newspapers, but everybody else would get the newspapers. Because I was on that wing, I didn't get it. But even the prison officer was like, he was sat on the metro. He said to me, he was like, wow, you look different. I was like, thanks, I'm pregnant and in prison. What do you think I'm going to look like? And so there was he said that he was sat and there was a newspaper of me with a bottle of vodka. Like this when I used to go out in West End, obviously, with a bottle of vodka. And yeah, they painted out that I was living this lifestyle off prison, off drug run money, but it wasn't. That was when I was in the military.
Wow.
That was military. It was government money.
So what's your thoughts on that and why you think people view these situations so differently?
Because society has been programmed to believe that the military is there to help us and save us and keep us safe, not go into other people's countries and ruin their lives instead.
Yeah, well, you've been there and seen it, so, you know.
Well, it wasn't even when I was in the military that I didn't even know we were at war, to be fair. I was that uneducated and that ignorant that the 4 weeks after basic trade training, they were like, are you going to Iraq? The unit you're getting posted to is going to Iraq. I was like, what for? Wow. I was only 18. Fair. And they were like, we're going to war. They're at war. And I was like, with who? I was like, what? We're at war? So yeah, I was so ignorant to it and I didn't really know.
That's crazy.
That's why most of the military things are in really poor areas. You won't go to Chelsea and find them.
Don't they give you
basic
education when you join?
Maths and English.
What you're fighting for, what you're doing.
Queen and country.
Queen and country, you take your order. Off you go, soldier.
I remember being in church in one of the things and I remember standing there listening to the pastor spew off all this stuff to all these infantry soldiers about God. Basically, God will want you to do this. You're doing it for your queen and country. And I was like, I didn't believe in the church in the first place, like in the why is Jesus white? And so now I've got this guy telling us that God wants us to go forward and all these soldiers are like, yep, that's what we're doing it for.
Wow. So now obviously we're coming to, you've got out with your son now. What is the reality of release as a, again, single mother, right?
So yeah, me and my son's dad broke up whilst I was in prison.
That's a shame. What was the reality of that like for you?
I had to have hypnotherapy to not want to murder people.
Okay.
Because it was hard. I was now a single mom of 2 kids on my own. My brother helped me when I left when I left prison. So me and my brother lived together. But I had a toddler. I had done my hairdressing diploma in prison, but couldn't work still because I now have a toddler. And dealing with heartbreak as well, because when you're in prison, as you know, your life starts like pause button. Everybody else is continuing. Yes. And so I'm on pause at you've cheated and now we can't be together because I'm leaving you. And his life's carried on. And now I'm here with this baby that's his and we were meant to be married, all of that stuff. And now I have to work out how I navigate life with 2 children, how I reprogram how I make a living because I'm no longer in an institute. So I went from the military to fast money and now I have to build my nervous system, build who I am with a criminal record.
Yeah.
It's so tough.
It might sound like a silly question, but what were the kind of main struggles or challenges you faced? Because I know you just spoke about quite a few things.
Yeah.
But what were like the real tough?
My heartbreak. Having to heal whilst looking after 2 humans that you have to pretend you're okay to. Also, I didn't want them to believe that was it. Like, that my life was just done because I've left prison. I didn't want them to think that was going to define the rest of my life. So that's where I started all of my healing. I started with hypnotherapy.
Talk to us about that journey, please.
Yeah, so it started with, so I was working I did get a job. And they obviously didn't know about my criminal record because they didn't ask. So I was like, well, is it lying if they didn't ask me?
No, if they don't ask, you don't have to tell.
Yeah.
It's legal.
So I was working as a manager in a therapy in Hammersmith and Chiswick. And there was a hypnotherapist that worked there. And so that was kind of like the first step I took into working on my mind, because the rage that was inside of me that was like trying to spew out in every direction was just so overwhelming that I was like, okay, there needs to be a way in which I can navigate this.
Why were you so angry?
Because my son's dad now created a situation. Well, I created it as well because I was in prison, so obviously wasn't gonna, we had both created a situation where now I'm now a single mom, and I was angry at myself as well. And yeah, it was all had to come out at some point. So there was a lot of rage. But as women do, we suppress. This is where all these autoimmune diseases come in and all of these things, because what is not felt and moved through becomes disease of the body. They say disease of the mind becomes disease of the body. And so I had hypnotherapy, and it was like a switch.
I'm so scared of that.
It's just working with the subconscious mind. It's
that's why I'm so scared, because in that state, when they're working on you, can do anything.
You just trust.
I can't.
I've
watched too many movies where people don't know what's happened.
But then I think you've got to work out why.
Why you don't trust.
Yeah.
Well, for me, that would be where I would go to first. We would do a drum journey to why. Sorry.
Because
I would just go in. We wouldn't even. That's a story.
Okay.
We don't use the story.
Okay.
We go in with the trust.
Okay.
Why can I not trust? And that's all you go in with. The story is a story that you're just continuing to recreate.
Cool.
It's no longer here.
Okay.
And so we go into that, and we go into the inside, into your body, because living here, and we get to the root and heal that version of you, not this version that's still creating stories.
You're getting him listening now.
No, I know.
Did you see how he went from absolutely never doing that in my life? I've watched too many things to
still not open
okay.
to it. Still not open to no, I understand
as
the
soon
process.
as you got
no, because I'm always going to listen to things and hear things out for sure. Yeah. But for me, the door's shut only because.
But how are you going to evolve if doors are shut?
I'm praying.
Praying to who?
Praying. That's my method.
Who?
You know what I'm saying?
To the Most High.
The Most High.
Yeah, but the Most High is who you're going to move through that trust thing with. You got to trust him that he'll always keep you safe.
And I'm good with that right now. Because
you'll become ready one day. This is
maybe.
Also, there's always a time where people are ready. And if there's fear, we also have to, because it's fear. You say I don't trust. No, it's fear.
Yeah, fair
The root
enough.
is fear.
I'm happy being a scaredy cat.
No, it's not even a scaredy cat. Like, having fear is the moment you get to the point of fear, that to me is like the best place to be, because on the other side of fear is the peace of mind that you're searching for.
You know what?
So if I'm scared of something, I'm going straight through the middle of that.
Shall I tell you what though? I did find peace of mind. It's not my story, we're talking about it, but I did find peace of mind in prison, because I found that stillness, that
connection to grace.
That connection where, we're on pause, and so you can actually sit and reflect and contemplate.
And be with self.
Yeah, and be stoic, so like that kind of
But you should
essence,
be able to
recreate that out here.
That's
something I've held on to.
Okay.
And like how your son was saying to you, you don't get angry. I evaluate life based on my prison experience, that listen, whatever happens out here, it's still 100 times better than being behind a locked door.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've kind of moved, but we digress. So this Naomi, how different is this Naomi sitting here today to the Naomi that was released?
The trajectory of my growth has been wild. Like how fast. So I became a Buddhist. That was what my connection to grace, because when you chant, it's a vibrational it's vibration, isn't it? So you actually recreate new neural paths in your brain, and it changes the structure of your brain. Chanting, sound healing, drum journeys, all of these things. So all I've done is consistently created new ways of doing things by repetition. And so I am very different. Even 3 years, even 2 years, even last year, even last week probably.
How long has it been since your release?
2015.
Okay, cool. And then so you've been on that journey, was it kind of straight after, or how long did it take you to?
So I was in not quite an extremely abusive, toxic relationships quite soon after prison. And that's what pushed me deep into my practice, like deep into my practice. I had 2 years of therapy and I was chanting 5 hours a day. And that's where the direction of my life completely changed. I then was in a commercial for Body Farm. And my life's just, because I'm consistently have trust in my life and I fully trust every single direction I'm guided, even if it's not the direction I think I'm meant to be going in, even if it's a pivot, I know that it's pivoting because it's in the right direction. Yeah, I have complete trust and it always works.
So how does that feel now?
Grounded, present, regulated. Yeah, it's
all the things that you never had in your life.
Yeah, literally the peace of mind that, and that's probably why I'm still single as well, because the idea of any kind of lack of peace of mind, it just doesn't fill me with any joy.
Would you say though that hinders you or not at all?
So my next step of my evolution will definitely be in a relationship, because you get to a certain point, you can't grow in isolation.
Yeah, okay.
And so I know there'll be more layers when I enter into a relationship of healing that I need to do. And so right now my business is my baby. And so a relationship would take away energy that I need to pour into that, because relationships are your biggest growth catalyst. And so I'm doing it consciously.
Okay, can you tell us about the work you do today, what you do now?
So I'm a shamanic practitioner. I do body work, where I work with the fascia and the energetic body, physical body. I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher and I hold ceremonial spaces as well.
So for people first time kind of hearing what this work is, can you explain a bit more?
Yeah, so what this work is, basically I'm here to guide you back home to your body and yourself and find and move through the illusion of what you believe is fact in this moment. Because a lot of the time we have these, we're laid with all these programming from everybody else, everybody's belief systems, everybody else's labels and how they feel we should show up in the world. What I do is bring you back into your body, and it's like making a cake. There's so many ingredients, and that's why I work shamanically with the subconscious mind. I work physically with your body, your physical body, because as you know, it keeps score of, the fascia is like your first line of defense for spiritual, physical trauma. So it just gets stuck in your body. And so that's why also I work with the physical body a lot, and guide people back home to themselves. Or not even back home to themselves, back to a place of regulation.
Regulation is good. Yeah.
Well, that's where your abundance comes from, your nervous system. If your nervous system is shot, you cannot create. You cannot create abundance.
Kind of a function homeostasis.
So how do you feel, how do you think people function then without doing this?
Fight or flight and in their head. They're all anxious. They've got anxiety, depression, all these things that, like, I can't say there's not ever a time where I'm feeling sad, upset, angry, because they're all human emotions. But my nervous system and the way I'm able to operate in life is I can flow into that space, but I can also flow straight back here. And I have all of the tools. My tool bag is just like a big suitcase now. And so I'm like, okay, what do I need right now? And I open my toolbox and I'm like, okay, this is what I need. And I bring it back here. A lot of the time people just stay here and they're like trying to think their way out of why their body feels so dysregulated and why their body feels so, thrown off. And it's like, okay, have you actually, where do you breathe? Like, where do you breathe? Like, if you took your attention now to where you're breathing, where is it? Most people have never even taken a deep breath into their stomach. And it's like, if you're not even breathing and that's what's keeping you alive, then...
How are you even functioning?
Well, they're not. They're like... And when you're panicked or you go into fight or flight, what do? Shallow breathe. So if you're shallow breathing all the time, you're sending signals to your body that you're in a state of anxiety.
Because this very thing, kind of discussion, I was having conversations, and we were saying in that conversation, what I realized from that conversation, speaking for myself, is that I'm still in that constant heightened sense of hypervigilance, regardless of my environment. And it's stuck with me from the streets, from prison, and now even in life after prison.
There'll be a moment where
it's going to crash, innit?
No, where little you made a vow that I'm not safe. So I always have to be hypervigilant. I was the same.
And it doesn't.
And so you go to that, and that's why we commit these crimes. That's why, because of our nervous system was created in this. I'm not, obviously, I don't know your past or anything like that, but there is a younger you. And sometimes I'll do a drum journey, and you go in, and it's like the most random thing. It's not even something really traumatic,
for me, I know
but
what
it's
it
like,
is.
oh, I have to be on guard because my brother keeps beating me up, or I have to be on guard because I don't know, I fell down the stairs and now I don't trust myself or my capability to keep myself safe. And so we go to that younger version of you.
No, I'm on that safety because things have happened.
Yeah.
And
but you know where if you're constantly looking for something, the universe will
Brings it.
constantly prove you to be right.
I fling it back.
So that's
I
right.
repel it. Stay far away.
You're
However,
safe. This is what I mean. If you believe to be safe, you will always be safe. Like, do you know? And if something does happen, you don't internalize it and think, "Oh, that's because I did this, and that."
So for me, that's lacking. I'm lacking or I'm slipping if I think I'm 100% safe.
So then you're blaming yourself. What?
Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Well, I feel like this is a session for you guys to be doing.
I'm sorry.
No.
I know we're digressing.
Not that it shouldn't be on the pod, but like, you're getting in it. This is the start. This is the start of what Naomi's
I'm so
doing.
open to processing all of this and understanding. Do you get
All
what
I'm
saying?
thinking is, all that I'm seeing is, Naomi knows this. She knows that there's probably like a block somewhere.
I know exactly what it is.
And you saying that
I just
there
want to
is.
talk about it here. I know exactly what it is.
No, you don't have to. But here's the thing: even the story.
Yeah.
We're not interested in the story.
Fair.
Even when I'm drumming,
Fair.
the story is just for your younger you, for us to heal that version of you.
Cool.
The story is just a story.
Cool.
We need to, in the work that I do, to make your body trust your inner you, your inner child, because it's not you.
Yeah.
It's not adult you that doesn't feel safe. It's the little you that's inside that doesn't feel safe. So we need to make the little you believe that adult you is going to always keep me safe. I know that adult Naomi is always going to keep little Naomi safe. Why? Because I'm never going to enter into toxic relationships that are going to abuse me.
Fair.
I'm never going to do a drug run that's going to put my children at risk. I'm never going to do any of those things because I'm going to make conscious choices. And so your little you needs to know you ain't going to be out on roads getting yourself in trouble.
Basically, part one of Zach's healing journey, and also and to be continued.
Yeah. So tell the people where they can find Omi Nai.
Omi Nai. Yeah.
Your Omi Nai Wellness and connect with you.
Yeah, so I've kind of dropped the wellness now because I don't just do bodywork and yoga. So it's just Omi Nai, which is a play on my name, and the sound of creation, which is Om. So on Instagram, my name is Omi Nai. I've also got a website that is called Omi Nai Wellness.co.uk. And yeah, all my details and all my work and everything I do is very much documented on every platform.
We'll make sure that those are in the show notes so everyone who's interested can check that out.
We're also going to spotlight an organisation called Birth Companions. They provide support for pregnant women and mothers in prison, including help with resettlement and parenting. Please let us know your thoughts on this episode, or if you just want to get in touch with us, please do. Instagram is @AfterPrisonPod. TikTok is Life After Prison Pod. Email us at podcast@prison.radio. Of course, you can listen to Life After Prison on all the usual podcast platforms and watch on YouTube. And if you're listening inside, please leave us your thoughts. You can call NPR on 0808 123 1234. Naomi, thank you so much for joining us today. You've been incredible.
It's been a pleasure. Great conversation.
What an eye-opener for us both as well. So thank you.
You're more than welcome.
And thank you for listening or watching. We'll see you next time.
Take care.